There's a little problem with the and the o sounds. If you look up the word caught in an American dictionary, it's very likely that you will see it transcribed as caught with this symbol. But in the part about the sound, we said it was pronounced with this symbol. So which one is correct? Well, yes, according to the traditional school of pronunciation, there are two very similar sounds in American English. A as in job and o as in caught. However, these two sounds have been merging into one sound in American English. And most people in America, especially in the West and the Midwest, now pronounce both of these sounds the same way. So for them, job and bought will have the same vowel sound. To make matters more complicated, even when you differentiate the o of job and the o of caught, the o sound in caught actually changes when it is pronounced before an r sound, and it becomes a more rounded o sound. And it will sound very different from the original sound in caught. So in reality, this symbol is used in dictionaries to represent two distinct sounds. The first is the vowel sound in caught, and the second is the vowel in court. But as you can hear, the two sounds are very different, and caught and court do not have the same vowel sound. So in my opinion, this system of separating the o and the o sound and using this symbol to represent two sounds is very confusing. I think there's no point in trying to teach people to differentiate and use two confusingly similar sounds when the American people themselves don't really differentiate them. At the same time, we should be able to show learners the differences in the sounds when there is actually a difference. Therefore, in order to make things simpler and more practical for Vietnamese people, at Sonus, we transcribe words such as caught, bought, and talk with this symbol. And we reserve this symbol for those cases where the o comes before an r, such as in core or story. So where the o sound is clearly different from the o sound. This way, our learners can focus on the important tasks. Mastering the o sound to say words like star and far well, and not to say stare and fire instead, and differentiating the o sound from the o sound in words such as star and store, or far and for. My final comment on this issue is that in some American dialects, people pronounce the o in for and the o in far the same way. So for these speakers of English, there's absolutely no difference in o and and they will say orange instead of orange, and forest instead of forest. I know, English is weird. But after all this academic rambling, my main message to you is that no matter which American way you choose to pronounce car, it's not cat, and caught is not cut. It's car and caught. I hope this explains why there's so much uncertainty around the o and o sounds, and why at Sonus we have decided to simplify matters a bit and transcribe caught as this. However, if you still have a question, feel free to comment.